Welcome back to Biblical Questions Answered, Episode 7. Today's video will be about the rapture. In particular, one passage that people use in its defense. Matthew 24, 40 through 41. 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken and one left. 2 men will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken, one left. I had heard this verse all my life, being used to talk about how the rapture will look to the world. 1 minute, you're here, and the next, poof, you're gone. But is that really what it's about? What is the context of this passage? What do the passages in the other Gospels add to this discussion? Well, let's find out. So let's start by reading Matthew 24, 36 through 51. No one knows about the day or the hour, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. As it was in the days of Noah, so will it be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up to the day Noah entered the ark. And they were oblivious until the flood came and swept them all away. So will it be at the coming of the Son of Man. 2 men will be in the field, one will be taken, and the other left. 2 women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken, and the other left. Therefore keep watch, because you do not know the day on which your Lord will come. But understand this: if the homeowner had known in which watch of the night the thief was coming, he would have kept watch, and would not have let his house be broken into. For this reason you must also be ready, because the Son of Man will come at an hour you do not expect. Who then is the faithful and wise servant, whom the master has put in charge of his household to give the others their food at the proper time? Blessed is the servant whose master finds him doing so when he returns. Truly I tell you, he will put him in charge of all his possessions. But suppose that servant is wicked, and says in his heart, My master will be away a long time, and he begins to beat his fellow servants and eat and drink with drunkards. The master of the servant will come on a day he does not expect, and at an hour he does not anticipate. Then he will cut him to pieces, and assign him a place with the hypocrites, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. A long reading, I know, but necessary for the context. And I would like to point out that the verse about 2 people, one being taken away and the other remaining, is surrounded by 2 examples. Right? The example preceding is the flood, and the example afterwards is the story of the 2 servants. In both you had a group or person who ate and drank and then were destroyed. And you had another group or person who were faithful and diligent and survived, and in the case of the servant was placed in a place of prominence. So in those 2 stories, who were the ones taken and who were the ones who were left? Well, the answer is rather obvious. The wicked were swept away in the flood, just as the wicked servant was sent to a place filled with weeping and gnashing of teeth. Right? They were not paying attention, and in doing so, the Lord came and swept them all away, leaving behind the faithful and diligent. Now, what do the other Gospels say? What do the other Gospels have to say, and do they shed any more light? Mark doesn't add much more light, because his is only a condensed version, which makes sense for Mark. He tends to condense a lot of things. Though here too, you have the command keep watch, and to make sure you're not caught sleeping. If you wish to read it, it's Mark 13, 32 through 36, but it doesn't actually have the 2 men in the field, or the 2 people in the field, one taken, one left. The big one is Luke 17, 26 through 37. Now, it includes the story of Lot, which again you have this connection of drinking and eating and not being prepared and being destroyed. So I'll be reading verses 29 through 37. But on that day, Lot left Sodom. Fire and sulfur rained down from heaven and destroyed them all. It will be just like that on the day the Son of Man is revealed. On that day, let no one on the housetop come down to retrieve his possessions. Likewise, let no one in the field return for anything he has left behind. Remember Lot's wife. Whoever tries to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life will preserve it. I tell you, on that night, 2 people will be in one bed. One will be taken and the other left. 2 women will be grinding grain together. One will be taken and the other left. Where, Lord? They asked. Jesus answered, wherever there is a carcass, there the vultures will gather. There the vultures will gather. So what can we gather with this? Well, there's a lot here. One thing is that here Luke is mixing in language about the destruction of Jerusalem, where you can find it in Matthew 24. And he's telling people to flee it and to not look back, even connecting it with the example of Lot, which here we have the example of Lot, and the example of Lot is connected to the flood, which again, people who are taken, people who are left. So what do we have? This isn't talking about a rapture. This is talking about the coming judgment of the Lord, and it is a warning to be on the lookout for his coming. So you can be prepared to, at least here in Luke, to flee Jerusalem. Matthew doesn't have that aspect as explicitly. He just has the command to keep watch, and that those who don't will be destroyed. So, no, this isn't a rapture. This is the warning of judgment, the warning to be prepared, and that if you are the diligent servant, the faithful servant, you will not face it, because if you're paying attention, you'll flee Jerusalem, which is what will be destroyed. So, till next time, and if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to comment down below. I will probably, unless something happens or I find something far more interesting, which is doubtful considering that this is an intriguing topic for me, the next video will probably be about the rapture, about a different verse that people use for the rapture. So, until next time, where I will try to answer another question.